My name is Kristin Riley, and I'm the chair of the Veterans Advisory Commission here in Northampton Township. I would like to introduce our MC for today's event. Eric Saracino is a member of our township's Veterans Advisory Commission and an Air Force veteran. From 1997 to 2007, Eric served in the United States Air Force assigned to the 56th Security Forces Squadron, and later with the Office of Special Investigations. He is a prior enlisted officer, aka Mustang, achieving the rank of captain. Since 2008, Eric is a special agent, criminal investigator with NASA's Office of Inspector General. Please join me in welcoming Eric Saracino.
Thank you, Kristin. Wow, look at the crowd today. It's fantastic. No wind, a little bit, but at least there's no rain. So I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for coming out here today to help us celebrate our veterans in the local area. So on behalf of the Northampton Board of Supervisors and the Northampton Veterans Advisory Commission, I'd like to welcome you to the 17th Annual Northampton Township Veterans Day Ceremony. Let's go! Since 2020, I have been fortunate to work alongside township residents that truly care about their veteran community. The Commission provides an opportunity to highlight several veteran programs, resources, and other options that are available in the local area involving healthcare, disability, employment readiness, education, and as well as financial opportunities for veteran-owned small businesses. Today, we have a tremendous lineup today including remarks from our guest speaker, veteran U.S. Marine Corporal Franny Simpson. We're also going to be recognizing 3 local veterans from this area with awards, and then we're going to introduce the new recipients of our Veteran Memorial Bricks and the Walkway of Honor. See, today is a celebration to honor America's veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. Veterans Day began as Armistice Day and was created by President Wilson in 1919 to commemorate America's victory in World War I and to express gratitude for the veterans who served during that war. The original date and time observance was specific, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, to mark the exact time when the hostilities of World War I ceased in 1918. And it was hoped to be the war to end all wars. Today, before we get started, it's been brought to my attention, which we should all know, but I'd like for everybody to give and highlight and be reminded that we have a very, very special day coming up on Monday. And if everybody knows what that is, I'd like to say happy birthday, 250th birthday to the U.S. Marine Corps this Monday.
Hoorah!
At this time, please rise as we begin our ceremony. Presenting colors for today's ceremony is color guard assigned to the Patriot Detachment 1230 Marine Corps League from Richboro, PA. Ladies and gentlemen, we remind you to remain standing at attention until the colors have been posted following the singing and performance of our national anthem by Miss Hailey Brown.
Color guard! Present the colors! Ready, set, march!
Work time, march. Left, turn. Detail, Halt.
Order, march.
Detail. Present. Arms.
Present, march.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order, march.
Detail. Port. Arms. Post the column. Detail. Right. Face. Forward. March. Detail. Halt. Left. Face.
Wow. Let's give it up for Miss Hailey Brown one more time. Fantastic job. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Next up, I'd like to introduce longtime pastor, Monsignor John C. Marine with St. Bede's Venerable Church in Holland, who will give today's invocation.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, today we honor our veterans, worthy men and women who gave their best when they were called upon to serve and protect their country. We pray that you will bless them for their unselfish service and the continual struggle to preserve our freedoms, our safety, and our country's heritage for all of us. Father, bless our veterans and all who serve our nation, defending our freedom. For those who bravely gave their lives, grant them eternal rest. For those who are serving, give them courage. For those who served, we offer our gratitude. Help us, dear God, to see your face in every veteran we encounter. Guide us as we imagine new ways to support veterans and their families. Bring healing and peace to all who have been wounded physically, mentally, and spiritually during wartime. Help us bring your saving grace to heal the invisible wounds of war. We ask this in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Monsignor Marine. Today, we are also honored to have in attendance with us today is U.S. House of Representatives Congressman Ryan Fitzpatrick, along with Pennsylvania State Senator Frank Farry and PA State Representative R.O. Kristin Marcell. And as well as our township supervisors. Thank you all for coming here today, and thank you for being a part of this great celebration and for everything that you do or continue to do in our local community and this great country. Township Supervisor and Veteran Advisory Committee Liaison Paula Gasper would like to say a few words on behalf of our Township Supervisors.
Thank you, Eric. I want to thank everyone for coming today, and I want to recognize and thank our Gold Star family members. Also recognize them. Our veterans hold a very special place in our hearts and our minds for many of us. We honor and remember, appreciate all the patriots who served in the United States Armed Forces. We are grateful. Our veterans sacrifice everything. I believe the people in the United States can be more cohesive and collected concerning our values and principles. We must uphold these values that the veterans fought to protect. We are comparatively a very young country. We don't have a long-standing history like the European countries. We do have our shared values. That is what we depend on to actually be the United States of America. Veterans are an inspiration for young people. They will be our leaders and our thinkers for the future. And I always like when I think about the question, what does America mean to you? When I see someone that's interested in veterans. Okay, I want to God bless everyone and say my patriotism is unfailing. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Paula. So let's begin. Today's guest speaker is U.S. Marine Veteran Corporal Franny Simpson. Franny grew up in Northeast Philadelphia and graduated from Father Judge High School before enlisting in the U.S. Marine Corps. After completing boot camp, Franny was assigned to the 1st Battalion, 7th Marines Mortar Platoon, which ultimately deployed to Vietnam. His military service achievements include the National Defense Service Medal, Presidential Unit Citation with 2 clusters, Republic of Vietnam Unit Citation with Gallantry Cross, and Marine Corps Action Ribbon. Upon separating from the military, Franny married his high school sweetheart and settled in the Southampton, PA area for the last 50 years. Please welcome U.S. Marine veteran Corporal Franny Simpson.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you everyone for being here. This is awesome. I'm honored to do this. I have to tell you, at age 18, the reason I went into the Marine Corps was I was tired of people telling me what to do and bossing me around. That's not it. But I haven't had one day when I'm sorry that I was in the Marine Corps. I think I belong there. I grew up in Northeast Philadelphia, and I have to rush a little bit because I have 20 minutes to talk, and I have 10 minutes to talk and 20 minutes of things to say. Growing up in Northeast Philadelphia, the post-war population explosion was rather evident. There was kids everywhere. I had 100 children in my 1st grade class, and I don't remember seeing or hearing about veterans. It was amazing. It was that greatest generation, and they were so proud of their country, proud of their flag, humble beyond words. So growing up with that, I didn't know much about the Marine Corps or the history of our nation per se, as far as war was concerned. My dad was a World War II vet and never talked about it. The day before I left for Vietnam, we sat down at the table and he told me a story, and that was the only one he ever told me. And that was just so I wouldn't give up. He and his 4 brothers and my mom's two brothers and one of her sisters all enlisted in the service during the war. And they were red, white, and blue. And we didn't have a television early on, but we had a record player. And I knew every song that Jimmy Cagney sang in Yankee Doodle Dandy. And that's all we did. My dad had a 52 Chevy that didn't have a radio, but all we did was sing patriotic songs. It was a wonderful place to grow up. He walked the walk, but he didn't talk the talk. He was a really, really good man. And I was going to meet another man like him when I got to Vietnam. Reminded me of him a little bit, but I'll get to that in a minute. First time I really saw patriotism in the neighborhood, I was in the Boy Scouts. I like the Boy Scouts. I like the badges. I like the knot tying and the first aid. And I was asked to carry the flag in the 4th of July parade down Frankfurt Avenue, from Ron Street to Cottman Avenue. And I think I was 11, I might have been 12. I was almost done with the Boy Scouts. But I liked doing that day. I felt really good about it. And my mom had me pressed and cleaned. I looked pretty good. I was in front of the troop. And the first thing I noticed walking down Frankfurt Avenue were men that were sitting on the curb, standing up and saluting as I walked by with that piece of material that they had served the flag of the United States of America. And it wasn't one or two guys. It was probably, by the time I got done that mile, I didn't count them, 100, maybe more. And I saw people I didn't know. I saw my neighbors on the block who I didn't know they were in the service. Mr. Cupper had white hair and glasses. I knew he was a grouch. I never talked to him. But he stood up as I walked by and saluted. And he was a good man. I got to know him. And then my dad was right after that. And then a couple neighbors and my baseball coach. Well, I didn't know there were veterans. Just a quiet humility and pride. So when I got home, my dad told me about everybody that was there. Mr. Cupper flew planes over Europe, and the guy down the block was in the submarine service. And he knew where everybody served except the baseball coaches, but he knew where everybody served. So they knew each other. They knew what was going on. I guess they talked, but they didn't talk out loud to us. I give them a lot of credit for that. After that, of course, I looked at things differently. I went to Father Judge High School, and Father Judge High School has they lost more students in Vietnam in combat than any other Catholic high school in the country. They lost 27. And tragic. And one day there was 3 obituaries in the paper, pictures of judge guys who passed. And I was over there at that time. And every once in a while I'd run into somebody from high school, crossing a rice paddy. I saw 2 guys I went to grade school with. And it was always nice. It was always nice. But the Father Judge thing, after it was all over, and not too many years ago, maybe 8 years ago, we put a documentary together, and it's called The Crusaders 27. And it's the mom and the sister story. You can't watch it twice. It's heartbreaking. And 2 guys that I knew very well, Eddie Zakowski died over there. I didn't even know his name was Eddie. He was Zacko. And Jimmy Snock, who we were going to go in together. And he said, I'm not going in the Marine Corps, and you shouldn't either because you'll get killed. And he got killed. He got hit in the head with some fragments, and he never woke up. He lived for a couple months. He lived at the Philadelphia Naval Hospital, I think, in the end, and his mom was able to sit with him every day, say the rosary with him. So that's kind of my tale as far as that goes. As I said, I went into the Marine Corps right after high school. I was 1A. I was going to get drafted, and I wanted to go where I wanted to go. So I went into the Marine Corps. I liked the uniform, to be honest with you. And I was going to wear it today, but it hasn't fit in about 25 years. I feel real good about it. I feel real good about what happened, and I don't regret any of it. I don't regret going to Vietnam. I'm proud that I went to Vietnam. Proud that I served with the men that I served with, young men. I grade you. 1st Battalion, 7th Marines was an action group. The day I got to Vietnam, we landed in Chulai at the air base. The next day, I got in the back of a truck, and 2 of us were headed for 1st Battalion, 7th Marines. We drove through the jungle, we drove down a beach, we got taken across a river on a huge raft in the truck, and then we were on a peninsula. This is where 17 was, on the peninsula. And we went through the jungle again, went through 2 villages, and we finally got to 17. And it was a couple miles of concertina barbed wire and 1 gate in the front, and it was beautiful. It was a red and gold gate, and there were 4 armed Marines at that gate. And we went in there, and we drove for a little bit in there, and we got to the central part of where 17 was, and there was a chapel. The Marines asked villagers to come in, and they built the chaplain a chapel, and it was bamboo with a thatch roof. It was beautiful. It had 12 pews, 6 on each side. And when we pulled up, they put the back gate down, and they were expecting 40 replacements. And 2 of us got off the truck, and we were squeaky clean. We were too clean, white as snow. And the CO just walked away. He was disappointed. There weren't 40, I guess. The welcome wagon wasn't there. But the chaplain stood there and waited for us to get off the truck. And the truck pulled away. And he was standing there. His name was Father Vincent Capodanno. He was about 6'1", curly, dark hair, good-looking man, a lot of gray. He was 38 years old. We were all 18 or 19. And he became our father, I guess. He really was. He was something else. He said Mass, wherever you were, he would say Mass. I didn't get to Mass a lot. I mean, there was no days of the week in Vietnam. My wife was here. She's a veteran. She sent me a letter every day that I was in Vietnam. And every letter had a number on it. And she started, I guess, with 1. And I didn't feel like I was going home until I got to 350, maybe 400. I was gone for 2 months in California and then 13 months in Vietnam. But the letter was my day of the week, basically. And when Father Vince was around, he would ring a bell. And he would be saying Mass in the chapel. But if we were out in the field, he'd be saying Mass on ammo bunkers. And I always went. I was terribly homesick. Really homesick, right to the end. I couldn't wait to get home, just to flush the toilet, you know. And he said Mass, and I always went when I could, but I always remembered going to Mass with my dad during Lent. We'd go every morning, and that's what I would think about when I was in Mass with Father Capodanno, and it kind of relieved that homesickness just a little bit. I give him credit for that. He was an amazing man. If there was a Marine from here to the library and he was wounded by himself, he would be with him in a minute, in a heartbeat. He never let up. The corpsmen were incredible, and they would patch a person up physically, but Father Vince never let anyone down spiritually. He was always there for us. I got in a guild that is out of Washington, D.C., and it's the Father Capodanno Guild, and he's being moved towards sainthood, and he's probably the closest man I ever met to a saint. He just never came out of it. One of the boys went to confession to him, I remember. I don't know what he did. I don't know what he could do in Vietnam, steal somebody's rations, but he had to say a decade of the rosary. He was really annoyed about it. But he said, Father, I don't have any rosary beads. He said, well, here, you can have mine. And he gave them to him. And we get together every other year. It's been 60 years, and we get together every other year. And 1 year he brought the rosary beads with him. Another year there was a priest there writing a book about Father Vincent Capodanno called The Grunt's Padre. And in the middle of that book is that grass chapel. If you ever get a chance, it's at the library. And it's a wonderful book, and he's a wonderful story. Marie and I got to go up to his gravesite just a couple months ago. It's in a grave in Staten Island. There's a boulevard right near the gravesite called Capodanno Boulevard, imagine. And there's no flowers or wreaths or anything allowed in this cemetery. But there's a stack probably 3 feet high of monuments and flowers and rosary beads draped everywhere. So I guess he's an exception, and he truly was exceptional. My story, it'll be like my dad. I'm not going to tell you any war stories. But that night before I left for Vietnam, my dad sat down with me and he told me that the worst place he was in France, and at the Battle of the Bulge. And he was a medic. I'm sure he saw all kinds of things. But he said he never gave up, and he never stopped praying, and he never stopped believing that he'd come home. He said one day he was working on a wounded soldier, and there was nobody else around. All of a sudden, there was nobody there. He was stunned. And he was working on him, and he saw something out of the corner of his eye, and it was a German soldier. He had a rifle pointed at him, and he just held up his shoulder. He had a red and white sleeve on with the red cross on it, and he just said a prayer and went back to work on this guy. And when he looked up again, he was gone. So he thought it was a miracle, and I guess it was. And maybe it was just a warrior that had compassion, because I felt like that. So my days, I came home. A lot of guys came home and they didn't get a parade. That was the big thing. Vietnam vets didn't get a parade. I got one. I got back to Walker Street and it was lined with flags. A huge sign down the middle of the street on a cable that said, "Welcome home, Fran." And it was at night and I could still see it all. It was wonderful. And I was welcomed home. My parents missed me. My neighbors were nice to me. My girlfriend at the time. And it was wonderful coming home and flushing toilets. It was a big deal, believe me. One other just short story. On the way over, we went through Okinawa, and it was a tradition for the Marine Corps then that you would go to the NCO club, and the guys coming home would buy computers for the guys going over. And what I really noticed was how old these guys were. They were much older than us, so I thought. They seemed 5, 6, 7, 8 years older. They had wrinkles, they had dirt that wouldn't come off. And I didn't realize that a year later I was going to do the same thing and I was going to be 8 years older. It was worth it. I'll close with 3 names. Larry Smedley, Congressional Medal of Honor winner, recipient, 1st Battalion, 7th Marines. Doc Durham, Corpsman, 1st Battalion, 7th Marines, and Father Vincent Capodanno. He received his Congressional Medal of Honor with the 5th Marines. You see, he went home. He went home in January, and I think he came back in February or March. He felt bad leaving, so he wanted to come back to his boys. And he went back to 5th Marines, and he did what he always did, and he died doing it. He died kneeling over a Marine, praying with him. And his prayer was, "Today we are together with God." It was that simple. He said it to me, to my face, getting on choppers, putting a sign of cross on my head. And I had a Jewish kid. He was getting on the helicopter with us, and he said, "You think that'll work for me?" I said, "Yeah, it'll work for you." I told Father Vince about it, and the next time he said Mass, I took him with me, and he dedicated part of that Mass to the Jewish tradition. He was truly a saint. So I'm thrilled to be here today. You can tell I can talk for a while. They asked me to do this 6 weeks ago, and I haven't had a night's sleep since. Honest. I love the Marine Corps. Happy birthday, boys. Semper Fidelis. Happy Veterans Day. Ladies, if you're a veteran, happy Veterans Day. Gentlemen, happy Veterans Day. I love our country, and I would still do anything for it. Thank you very much.
A round of applause for Corporal Franny Simpson. Thank you so much. All right. Before we get started, I'm going to bring up Miss Hailey Brown. Fully aware, Space Force. We have any Space Force folks here? Just let you know, Space Force belongs before the Coast Guard. People put that, they bring that to my attention. So, but unfortunately, I failed. So I'll take ownership to provide the music and the keynotes, because what we have here today is an a cappella. So I'm going to call out when Miss Hailey Brown begins. And if possible, can I please have your representatives from whatever branch you're at to please either raise your hand or stand up so that we can recognize you as a collective. Okay? Army.
First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along.
Marine.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli,
We will fight our country battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep honor clean. We are proud to claim the title, the United States Marine. Hoorah!
anchors away, my boys, anchors away.
Air Force.
Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here we come, zooming to meet our thunder. Adam boys, give her the gun.
Coast Guard.
We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in thee. Through surf and storm and howling gale shall our purpose be.
Let's give her another round of applause on that one. Thank you so much, Ms. Hailey Brown. All right, next up, we're going to honor and recognize, we have 3 distinguished veterans in the local area, and after coordination with some of the folks out here, it's been decided I'm going to read a little bit about them and then have each one of them come up and then receive a citation from our political friends. So, what we have here is the first one is up, and this is an individual that means a lot to our Veterans Advisory Commission and to this township. And the first person I'd like to bring honor to is Lieutenant Colonel Francis O'Donnell, a proud member of the United States Army Reserve from 1967 to 1988. And I'm not sure if Frank is able to make it today. Oh, I can't see you. Frank achieved the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. His service to our community is equally distinguished, marked by years of public service on the Zoning Hearing Board, the Northampton Bucks County Municipal Authority, and the Township Board of Supervisors. During his time as supervisor and liaison to the Veterans Advisory Commission, Frank played a vital role, alongside his good friend, Captain Harry Neiman, in the design and creation of the Veterans Memorial, which was a powerful and enduring symbol of the community's gratitude to our veterans. Frank, you're a legend. And I personally just want to say thank you for everything that you have done to this township, for this, the commission and everything. We can't do it without you. And thank you so much. And if I could you please come up? Have you stand next to Representative Marcell. him a round of applause. Congratulations, Lieutenant Colonel Frank O'Donnell, and thank you, Congressman Fitzpatrick and Representative Marcell. Next up, we're going to celebrate Captain Harry C. Neiman, another exceptional veteran whose unwavering commitment to excellence has significantly impacted our community. On behalf of Captain Neiman, I'd like to bring up the Commandant, Michael Clark from the Patriot League Detachment, who will be accepting in his honor. I'm going to read real quick. Okay, rising to the rank of captain, Captain Neiman exemplified the Marine Corps' enduring values of honor, courage, and commitment, principles he carried profoundly throughout his life. As a resident of Holland, PA since 1976, Captain Neiman is also a lifetime member of the Patriot Detachment 1230 Marine Corps League in Richboro and continues to live by the creed, once a Marine, always a Marine. In addition, Captain Neiman served on Northampton's Free Library Board and later on the Veterans Advisory Commission Ad Hoc Committee, where his insight and Lieutenant Colonel Frank O'Donnell's insight were key and instrumental. This is for Captain Neiman. Thank you. The final recipient, I'm going to say some words and then I'll call you guys up. I'd like to bring up and introduce Specialist Stephen Cross, U.S. Army Chemical Operations Specialist stationed at Fort McClellan in Alabama from June 1991 to 1995. After separating from the Army, Stephen and his wife, Noreen Cross, ultimately became fixtures in Northampton. Steve and his 3 children and his family were all attendees at all the schools in Council Rock. In 2015, Noreen was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, and she fought bravely and courageously for 8 years. Her battle was insurmountable, and unfortunately, she's no longer here as of October 4th, 2023, leaving behind her veteran husband and 3 young children. There are no words to express the sorrow and pain that still resonates with everybody, to include the Cross family. But on behalf of the Northampton Township Veterans Advisory Committee, we purchased a brick engraved with your name and service details that will be added to the walkway of honor located in the front of the township building. Steve, we wanted you and your family to know that we will never forget your sacrifice and your service to our country, but more importantly, the selfless sacrifices and commitment made to your children, Stephen, Charlie, and Chloe. You displayed extraordinary strength and resilience in the face of profound personal adversity, demonstrating an inspiring commitment to your family following Margot's passing. Your dedication as a loving father and a pillar of community exemplifies best qualities of a veteran leader. While we recognize your exemplary military service, we equally honor the silent sacrifices made at home and the unwavering commitment you have shown to your children. There is no doubt that Margot is incredibly proud of you and is surely shining down. Stephen, veterans are never forgotten by their community and their fellow service members. Everyone here, everyone, stands firmly by your side, now, always, and forever. We salute you. Stephen, Specialist Stephen Cross, please come up. Thank you, everybody. Let's give another round of applause for Lieutenant Colonel Frank O'Donnell, Captain Harry Neiman, and Specialist Stephen Cross. Okay, final part of the program today draws attention to the new additions of the Northampton Township Veterans Memorial Walkway of Honor. There are 24 honorees whose names have been added to the bricks which will be placed on the Walkway of Honor located in front of the Township Administrative Building in the Veterans Memorial. I'm going to read the names and dates of service while we have some light music in the back. First up, Army veteran Edward A. Andrews, 1955 to 1957. Navy veteran John A. Peters, 1942 to 1946.